Assalamu alaikum, sisters and brothers. Sulaiman Rahim here, Message of the Covenant, break of the seven seals. Let's bring out the audience. Welcome. This is Black Alert segment of the Fire Zone. Welcome. Sisters and brothers, I want to spend a few minutes talking to you about pressure. But first, we're not going to forget the Holocaust. The Holocaust. The Holocaust. Sisters and brothers, there's a concerted effort to try to get you to think of something else, to forget about the past, forget about your experience here. Critical race theory, they want to reduce it to a theory. They already have whitewashed it, called it slavery. Look up the definition of slavery, brothers and sisters. See if it includes what you see in that picture. Rape, murder, dismemberment, torture, forced to eat shit, literally. That's what chitlins are. That's what it is. They used to take, when they slaughtered the hog, they would take the intestines and all that stuff out and throw it away. Because it was foul. It was shit and everything else. And so when they brought you over, they said, no, we feed it to them. And they didn't put it on a plate and give you a fork and spoon. They didn't clean it and bake it or fry it or broil it. No, they put it in a trial. Just your best friend, Oprah Winfrey, she published, I think they call it Slave Diaries. It's on YouTube, how they fed you. They fed you just like they fed pigs in a trial. You said ate just like the pigs ate. And to the extent that they prepared the chitlins for you, chitlins, often, right? I mean, to the extent they prepared it all, how much cooking, whatever they did to it, they didn't clean the shit out. They didn't do that. You ate it all, you ate nothing. And you was going to eat. They made sure you ate something because you had to work. And if you wouldn't eat, you try to starve yourself to death, they'd knock your teeth out, put a funnel in your mouth, and pour it down. That's what you've been dealing with for over 400 years, nearly 500 years with these people. Now they want to say, oh, it's critical race theory. You need to forget about it. They don't tell those other people forget about the Holocaust, do they? But you're supposed to forget about it. We're moving on. We passed that. Anyway, it was a theory. See? And, we Christians, we saved you. We stopped all that. Who started? See? It's one lie after another. They're trying to downplay it primarily because the judgment is here. The judge, execution is present, that they're desperately trying to hide the evidence. And we are the evidence. And what you do when you see, right, the cops on the way, you see the law on the way, what do you do when you see law on the way? And you know you're guilty. You get rid of the evidence. That's their plan for us. To get rid of the evidence. Let us cut them off from being a nation. The name of Israel be remembered no more. That's talking about those people over there. Who are you? But you so busy, NFL, NBA, all that kind of stuff, that you won't realize it until they pop the snare and they cut your throat. It says it will come upon you as a snare. You won't see it. You won't see it coming. That's what snare is. You're going to walk right into it and don't see it coming. Yet you should have. You got over 40 years of history, these people, but you're fist bumping. Hey, you married them. Oh, buddy, all this stuff. Hey, bro. Hey, bro. And I ask you a question. If somebody beat and raped your mama, kick, piss on her and everything else, rape her, you name it, would you be friendly with that person, their family? Would you? And if you say you wouldn't, then what about if it did to your grandma? I mean, how far you have to go back? Would you be friendly? Just by, hey, brother, would you be forgiving? What if you say, what about your grandma? You see, it's too far back for you? Because some of you may have met your great grandma, and they did it to your great grandma. Your great grandma experienced some of that. Anyway, brothers and sisters, we're not going to let you forget. We're not let them forget. The judgment is here. They've been under judgment since 2020, 1619 to 2019, 40 years. Read the Abrahamic covenant, and then a plague will come. The judgment will come upon them. A plague will come that will kill the firstborn and pass over us. Exactly what happened. The firstborn means the elderly. In 2020, that came out just on time, and it killed the elderly, but it wasn't killing us. But they was lying to you. Oh man, y'all dropping like flies. Why are they not saying that now? Because it was a lie. And the World Health Organization published a paper a few months back saying they could not understand why this plague was not affecting Black Africa, Haiti. Yes, so, but it was affecting us. It goes a lie. So we're going to move on, brothers and sisters. The Holocaust. Don't let them call it slavery. Slavery is just the economic side of it. Minimum profit, minimum overhead, maximum profit. They had to give you something to eat to keep you alive. See? But they gave you no more than they absolutely had to. They didn't give you a bed, you slept on the floor. Well, really, you didn't even sleep on the floor. You slept on the ground. They say it's floor. Actually, you slept on the ground. Because my great granduncle lived in North Carolina. He showed me his slave quarters and everything else because he knew about it. He was a child through it. And he said they actually slept on the ground in a little enclosed closet, no bigger than a bathroom. The whole family was shoved in there and locked in there all night. The only way they kept themselves warm is by all, there's so many of them in there, right, that it's keeping them warm, body heat. So I'm telling you from what they told me directly. But go look up that thing Oprah did, slave letters. Anyway, brothers and sisters, this is real, and they're trying to cover it up. And if they can't cover it up fast enough, cover the crime, they have to get rid of the evidence. You the evidence. Okay, brothers and sisters, we're going to talk about pressure. Second here. And bear with me, brothers and sisters, because I'm dealing with several technologies. It's new. And so I'm trying to get used to it. Okay. Pressure, wisdom. Now, I talk about electrical wisdom, that's about pressure wisdom. Now, Elijah Muhammad told you, he says, that they would not teach us the science of war. Well, I'm going to tell you, teach the science of war. Because the science of war is about pressure. See, and they don't teach you, they didn't teach anything. Only thing they taught you was a couple of words. Yes, master, no, master. I'm sorry, master. Please don't beat me, master. See, I love Jesus, master. The other government kind of very limited. And if it went beyond that, they knew you was thinking, and you was doomed. Because it took 64 years from 1555 to 1619 to transform us from Kuti, Kanti, and Toby into Negro butts. Program not to think, not to ask questions, self-destruct, and obey master no matter what. And love master no matter what. The more he beats you, the more you should love him. And they had their demon children to keep reinforcing that programming. And the first Negro bus came off the assembly line in 1619, fully programmed to do what I just said. Not think, obey master, love master no matter what, self-destruct, so forth, so on. and stamped. See? Toby Richardson. You think that was a name? It was meant. Ownership. The statement of ownership. So if you was Toby Richardson and you sold to Master Jackson, you became Toby Jackson. Now you walk proudly with those names, and you're supposed to, because that's part of your programming. But if you get rid of that name, your program is not. Your program is coming unwound. See, that means you got to send a terror button that's their black-faced children to check your programming out. See, to readjust your program, to reboot you, to reprogram you. They can't get you back online, deactivate you. And it says, the scriptures tell us, the angel tells us that half of the blacks in America are demons. Their children from assistant rape, that means had nature, their daddies, they're not us. They look like us. They're wolves in sheep clothing. They're not us. You see what happened in the 60s, the so-called civil rights? All they wanted was to get close to mass. Integration. Why would you want to be? Why would sheep want to integrate with wolves? Unless they're really wolves to begin with. Why would sheep want to integrate with wolves? That's insane. Unless they're wolves already in sheep clothing. Why would sheep want to integrate with wolves? Ask yourself that question. And they left you. And we're going to talk about that. They left you in the cities, and they ran the mass as fast as they could. Only time they come back, the politicians, the sports figures, the actors, whatever, when they need something from you, your support or something. Otherwise, they have nothing to do with you. Let's move on, brothers and sisters. So this is not going to be very long. I think the basic idea. I'm going to do a full-blown presentation in the near future, I expect. The homing tools have a lot of things I have to cover. Now we talk about electricity. That's one of the forms, one of the sciences they use on us. Electricity. It's a form of pressure, but electricity, I explain that. That's how they criminalize us. So I'm going to go over this briefly, right? Let me do something right quick, bosses. I mean, it probably doesn't really matter. I'm going to do it anyway. Explaining electricity, that's one of the sciences they use against us, because electricity is based on the relationship between electrons and protons. The red dots represent protons. Now, protons don't look like that, but we use that as a picture to try to get you to understand the process. Black dots are electrons. There's a attraction between the two. It's not magnetic, different type of attraction, but there's attraction between the two. And so we're going to say the protons represent us. Each one represents a group of one of us. It's a small group, okay? And the electron represents our environment, all things external to us. Civilization, food, everything external to us, right? So you need enough to be comfortable, right? So if you have less than that, then you're not comfortable, so you want to take from someone else. See, I get an analogy of you got a string of pearls, the string of pearls in a circle, right? And each pearl represents a person, and these similar circles, like musical chairs, right? And each one has an apple. Now they all are very hungry. They're told they not eat that apple. Each one has his apple. And each one is very hungry. So that eat it until the music goes off, right? So someone comes along and snatch one of the apples away. So now, say you got 12 people. Well, now you only got 11 apples. So the one, he takes the apple from the one that's right. And he doesn't have one. So he takes one is right. You have one. So forth. So therefore, you can create a circuit, right? As a current. Because everybody wants to have an apple, and no one wants to be sitting there without an apple when the music sounds. See? If they take 2 apples away, it gets even worse. So I'm going to show you that. So I'm going to just go here so we can move on to see here? Okay, I took one away. Okay, see what happens. See there? And you got a current. Each proton is taking an electron from the one next to it. See? That's a current. Okay. So, but if you go a little further, criminalization. One technique they use against you, brothers and sisters. So here we took 2 electrons away. So what happened when we take 2 electrons away? Yeah, you increase the current. Okay. And so they do that to us. I'm not going into all the details, guys. I'm going to keep this short. Each person requires enough, to keep us satisfied, so to speak, right? Need food, need clothing, whatever. So if you have less than that, you're not going to be comfortable. Unless you're extremely disciplined, you're going to take it from someone else. And they're going to take it from someone else. And then you got the current. See? And no matter how disciplined you are, if it gets to the point where there's no food, there's only a little bit of food, then you're going to take, you got a family, you want to steal. Now, you're not a criminal, right? But you want to self-preservation. You got to take care of your family. So they make sure there's not enough food in the neighborhood, in the hood, to satisfy everybody. There's not enough whatever to satisfy everybody. They play these games with money. I'm going to do a presentation strictly on money because money is an illusion. See? It's an illusion because everybody gets the same amount of energy. You don't understand that, but you need to. Everybody gets the same amount of energy, but everybody doesn't get the same amount of money. I heard somebody say recently, not going to say the name, that we all get the same amount of money. No. That's totally wrong. We all get the same amount of energy. Energy and money is 2 different things. Money is to deceive you about the energy that you're receiving. It's a deception. It's an illusion. And we're going to talk about that, but I really need to take a whole presentation to talk about that. I wouldn't do it justice. But we all get the same amount of energy. But they can control the quality of that energy. What I mean by that, remember redlining where they said, well, you're going to live here, you're going to live there. So you had the energy, we say money, but they told how you could use it. I hate to say money because then I get you illusion, back in that illusion of money. They tell you how you can use it. So $1 million shit farm is equal to $1 million gold mine. Both of them are worth the same thing. They both worth $1 million. But you got the shit farm and they got the gold mine. What would you rather have? Both of them worth $1 million. But see, you can only allow you to buy the shit farm. They won't let you buy the gold mine. So we're going to talk about this recycling thing in a minute. So this is one of the ways that they criminalize you because they make sure there's not enough resources in the hood to go around everybody. And the less disciplined you are, the more you're going to take from others. But at some point, no matter how disciplined you are, you're going to take anyway. Because you have to have the basic necessities. You have to have at least basic food, water. So at some point, right, everybody's going to participate in that. If it's intense enough, How they did that? By making sure your jobs got shipped overseas. They destroyed Detroit, was like a black mecca, economic mecca, right? They make sure you don't have that much resources, but they make sure there's plenty of prisons. So they criminalize. They know you're going to indulge in criminalized behavior, certain type of criminalized behavior. See, there be a level of violence, but this is not speaking to violence. We're going to talk about violence in a minute. See, there's theft, break-in stuff. That's not the kind of violence I'm talking about. Theft, con artists, right? Selling drugs, that type of behavior. Anything you can, right? To get resources that you need. But when you get it, that means that private somebody will need it, because it's not enough. There's 1,000 people, and every person needs $10 a day, right? But they only put $5 a day in the neighborhood, then you got a problem. They don't criminalize, and they know that they're going to criminalize you because that's the effect. And so therefore, they got to do is stop and frisk or whatever. They know you're going to indulge in some kind of criminal behavior. See, unannounced break, walk-ins, and all that kind of stuff. They traffic stop, and they know you're going to be indulged in some kind, because they can tell depends on how much resource they limit going into the neighborhood. This is something they actually doing. They say, okay, it's that many people. We're going to make sure they only make this much money in there, right? They get these jobs like Walgreens and Walmart and which you can't afford right now with these gas prices, but McDonald's and Popeyes and so forth and so on. And they take, we'll talk about money a little bit here, but I really got you to understand about how this money works. What they do is, okay, how much calories do you spend a day working at McDonald's? If you work an 8-hour, 9-hour shift, how much calories do you spend doing that job? You don't think that way. That's why Master Muhammad said, learn the mathematical language if you wish to be successful. So you cannot be successful in the mathematical language. So do you calculate that? So say, for instance, you spend 1,000 calories a day doing that job. So that'd be what, 5,000 a week? But the money they pay you is only enough to buy 3,000 calories. Now, after all those things, you only got 3,000 calories worth of food. Did you ever think about that? You spent 5,000 to get it, but you only got enough so-called money to purchase 3,000. Because remember, you got other things too, other bills and so forth. Then you wonder why you're sick, tired, aggravated, because you working for nothing. Because all you see is, oh man, right? I got $3,000. See? This whole month, I got $3,000. So you made $3,000? You made $10 a day? $100 a day, whatever. Yeah, 100. So I got $3,000. $100 a day, I got $3,000. But the calories you spend, now you can only buy 3,000 calories with that, right? But you spent $6,000, 6,000 calories to get it. Have you ever tried to calculate that one? No. You ever tried it? You hear him mention anything like that in the news? No. You're trying to calculate this, I calculate that. Why don't I calculate? Because they don't want to wake you up that you've been exploited. Because they're paying you less than what they're getting out of you. It's still slavery. Tell me you're free. You're not free. Are you still in this country? You're still doing what they tell you to do. Still there are laws. You're still throwing your children in prison and whatever. So then they have the prisons, that's for you. Because they'll criminalize you. When you get in prison now, you don't sit back and lift weights and stuff anymore. You work. $1 a day, $3 a day, $4 a day. It's even worse there. And they got these private prisons now where the government guarantees them a certain amount of inmates. How can they do that? Are you going to invest in a prison that all of a sudden there's no crime, and all of a sudden, man, you got this big old prison, all this overhead, and you ain't making any money because you ain't got no inmates? So what do you want? You want crime. You want more crime. Because more crime, the more money you make in your prisons. And they connected to the government. So the point is the government's in on it. Because the government sold to it, guaranteed them so much, so they can make sure you have crime. And this is one of the ways they do it. I mean, that should be simple, brothers and sisters. This is one of the ways they do it. See? That's why they started building these private prisons, and at the same time, and Biden was the one pushing this program. Now he's trying, he's still against you. But I'm not going into that kind of detail right now. They're all against you. You know, called devils, and what? What the Bible said, can a tiger change its stripes? A leopard, whatever. So they start sending your jobs overseas. See, it's industrial jobs. AI, they send them over to India. The agricultural jobs, they let people come across the border, they get them. And what you got? You got the prisons. They're not going to criminalize you because there's not enough in the neighborhoods to sustain everybody. So you're going to have criminal activity. I ain't talking about the demons. That's a whole nother issue right there. But they did it, sustain this process. See? But I'm just talking about just the native process, the raw process. This is what's happening. They'll criminalize you. Okay, let's move on, brothers. This is a review of other stuff that we talked. Because I got a whole presentation on this. I'm going to do a more detailed one. There's so many things I'm trying to do right now. Then we talk about magnetism. I'm not going to talk about how magnetism, right now, how to use magnetism against us. That's another story. But I'm just showing you basically how magnetism works. So I'm just going to leave that there. I talked about it, look at the presentation, because I don't want to get diverted. I want to get to my main topic here. Now see, the inner circle, that's you. Just that's you, right? The outer circle, that's how much space you need to have peace. How much space you need to have peace? Because everybody knows no one wants to be in a crowded elevator. No one. So that's how much space you need to have peace. And the Bible talks about this. It says you shouldn't have people pushed close together. You shouldn't have two-story houses, no people live on top of each other. The Bible talks about that kind of stuff. But you don't hear the preacher talk about it because he'd have to explain how come you still in there, why you still getting him money, he ain't doing anything about the situation. That's why he's not going to talk about that kind of stuff. So that's how much. So you get peace with the person next to you. You got that much space, you got that much space. You're not encroached on each other's space, right? Now, the ideal amount of space for the original man in general normal, about 1 square mile. You should have a neighbor within 1 square mile of you. And all that space, see, so in other words, they can't interrupt you, and you can't interrupt them. You got all that space, because they had that kind of space. Even the poor devils, some of them had to have space down. You go down in the deep south. You had to go deep south. You go north, South Jersey. But not you. You crowded the ghettos and the projects. We all every top of each other, next to each other. You bump each other. You keep. If everybody sneeze, you hear it. They flush their toilets, you hear it. In an argument, you hear it. They turn the radio up, you hear it. You have no peace. You see, pressure, conflict. See, now you push together. That's pressure. They have conflict. Because you want to get some rest, they want to turn up the volume. You try to sit watch TV and they're over top of you running around with their kids. Now, there's this study. I think the first name was Calhoun or something. I don't remember exactly right now. But you can look at it, look it up. They study pressure. Now, they cannot withstand the amount of pressure you have. So we're talking about quality pressure, not quantity pressure. There's two types of pressure. There's quality pressure and quantity pressure. Quantity pressure is just overall pressure that we deal with. It's like, the atmosphere. But quality pressure gets back to electricity again, in that sense, because if you take and say you're on an island, right? But see, it's not electricity, because electricity requires there be a firm structure. But you just have people, they just live in there. And everybody eats 3 bananas a day, 3 meals a day. Right? So you got 1,000 people, everybody eating 3 bananas a day. Right? All of a sudden, something happens, because it's producing, right? Al is producing 3,000 bananas every day. So that means it's 3 bananas for everybody. And that's what they need, they're happy. So then something happened on the island, a drought or something, and started producing only 2,000. That means only 2 bananas for everybody. But everybody needs 3. So it's a certain current there, but it's not quite the same thing, right? But I said, I don't want to confuse you. Anyway, it's similar. But anyway, thing is that you're putting pressure on everybody now, because now they want to take from someone else. They want to take from someone else. Now everybody's taking from everybody else. So you got pressure right now. Got conflicts. What if it gets down to 1,000, one banana, 1,000 bananas? Then it gets even more intense. See? Now I don't want to say this is like the same concept, but it's not electrical. It's qualitative pressure. I don't know if I want to try to make that show you the distinction. Because remember, the process of causing electricity is you have to remove the electrons from a structure. It has to be a rigid structure, because if you're moving the electrons away, because the structure to break down, that's not electricity. See? That's pressure. You see? Because that's why all kinds of metal, every metal can be magnetized. Because some metal, iron is strong enough to maintain structure, take the electrons away. And some, they take electrons away, it pulls the protons away too. So structure breaks down. So you don't develop a current. But you do develop conflict. And that's qualitative pressure. You develop conflict. You understand? So in that case, you develop conflict. See? Unless they have a very structured society. But anyway, bottom line is, it's conflict. So they conflict with each other because they're taken, right? And that's a violent type of situation. See? Now I said, one is more, the electrical thing is not necessarily violent, right? Theft, breaking, but this type creates violence. This type of situation creates violence. They're fighting with each other to get the bananas. So what if it gets down to 500 a day? Now remember, everybody's getting 1 banana. Now, half the people got a banana, the other half don't have anything. So you got more violence. Because they need 3, so they fighting each other over those bananas. Conflict. See, constant conflict. See, so I don't want you to get mixed up between electrical, because electricity is a form of pressure, and just all out just basic pressure. See? And that's what we're talking about, the science of war. Because that's what they do in war. What happened is that what they do is they go after industrial, the food production, all that kind of stuff. That's called strategy. They put pressure on the people because now they need more things and they don't have it. They can't produce food because they can't grow food. Because as the Romans used to do, they would go out and they would put salt all over the fields where they grow. So nothing would grow there. Now people couldn't find nothing to eat. So they might start eating each other, whatever, because they couldn't grow anything. And they would threaten to do that to people, unless they obeyed them or whatever. That's a qualitative type of pressure. See? Because they can't control how much energy you have. They can't control that. They control it, how it's used. They put pressure on you in a qualitative type of way. Because now, remember, they take the food away. You still won't get your amount of energy. You just won't get it in terms of food. But you need food. You won't get it in terms of food. See? You might get a sense of unity where you start working together, but you still need food. And then you get to fight each other over the food. Because you will get the same amount of energy anyway, it just won't come in terms of food, but you need food. That's qualitative pressure. That's qualitative pressure. You see? And they do that to us too. You see? So in that process, one, they criminalize you. The other one, right, they terrorize you. Conflict, fighting, killing, like you see going on in Chicago now. See? That kind of pressure is conflict, violent. That's the kind of use in war. See? So in war, if they put enough, see, because when they start doing that, then you start banding together, because, see, you can say my energy, so you use that energy to band together to fight, to break out, to break the enemy from doing this to you. When they put enough, the bonds between you and the structure that you band together, that breaks down, then you start fighting each other, turn on each other. Now, they did a study. They made many studies, but one they publicized this rat study. They studied, if you take rats and you have a situation where all the rats have their space and they have all the food and everything, they was happy, they was going along, happy paradise. I mean, a rat paradise, right? They was a happy rat paradise. And then they start forcing the rats closer, closer, closer together. Closer, closer, closer together. And less resources. And after a while, the ultimate result, they start eating each other, start killing each other. They start getting sexual deviancies. I mean, they went in basic, they was going in rat insanity. See? Because you need a amount of space, you need a certain amount of resources, and resources qualitative, like you need a certain amount of food, and not just food, because you can't just eat bananas, you have to eat a range of foods, right? You see? So they can take it, okay, for instance, say you need so much vitamin D. So they make sure only foods that come in your neighborhood have no vitamin D. And you don't even know what's happened to you. So now you got vitamin D deficiency and don't even know it. That's qualitative pressure. And you're going to have the effects in the community of whatever a vitamin D deficiency causes. So if vitamin D deficiency causes you to be gay, then now you got a big explosion of gay. Or if you got a vitamin C, now you got what was it, scurvy or whatever. All of a sudden, people pop up with, well, why are everybody getting scurvy? Because they control the nature of the food coming to the community, and they made sure the food came in was deficient of vitamin C. They didn't tell you. They might put vitamin C on the packet, even give you supplements that had no vitamin C in whatsoever. This is what they're doing to you, brothers and sisters. This is pressure. Qualitative pressure. They use this in war, use it against you. Right now, you suffer from deficiencies that you don't even know aware of. Even eating how to live. Because eating how to live to assume that all the nutrients are available that they speak about in there. But they can go and say, okay, you ain't, I did fine. And they say, okay, well, you're not going to eat no pork, you just want to eat beef, right? You're only going to eat, or you want to eat salad or whatever. And they make sure it's deficient of certain vitamins. So now you eat healthy, you think, but you're not. See, because it looks like it. They put pressure warfare on you because it's qualitative. And so you're missing, you got that vitamin deficiency, don't know it. So what impact it having on you? What impacts it having? You think they're not doing this? And it's easy because they keep you crowded in certain areas where they control the type of food that comes in that area. Even clothing. You think clothing, certain materials has effect on your skin. So they make sure it's that kind of material, woven into the kind of material that you can buy. That's pressure, brothers and sisters. See? And this kind of pressure causes violence. Because, see, the rats start becoming violent. So certain vitamin deficiencies can cause you to become violent. I'm not talking about demons here. That's a whole other issue. See, that's an issue all by itself. I'm just talking about what they do. That's like, a lot of times they will not teach you the science of warfare, but this is the science of warfare. You think just shooting guns and stuff? That comes after, right? You fight what's going on, you start fighting back. Then they come out the guns and stuff. How did they wipe out a lot of Indians? They gave blankets with smallpox in it. Here's blankets. You cold? We got some blankets for you. They've been studying this science for hundreds of years. And they become very good at it. You know what you know about it. Like I said, bro, there's so much I can tell you. It's only me. And I'm going 24/7. Those who tell you, I'm going 24/7 trying to get information out to you as fast as possible. And they're doing everything they can to shut me down. But they know better. They can try to do it, but they know they better go so far. Because it says, he who protects Israel neither sleeps nor slumber. And I guarantee you, it tells you there that Jesus told them, my father sent out 12 legions? He knew he was protected. They can go so far, they could only, like Elijah Muhammad said, they could go so far in him. Because Master Barab Muhammad told him that he was going to protect him. He told him he would go to jail and stuff like that, but they would not lay a hand on him and never did. Never did any violence on him whatsoever did. But they got Farrakhan, didn't they? He put some radiation up his ass because he deserved it. Because he's one of them. That would never happen to Elijah Muhammad. Happened to him because that's a punishment for robbing this nation. See, you're cursed with a curse. Read Malachi. Because you robbed this whole nation. Who's robbing this nation? Is it Elijah? Is he robbing the nation? All the nation, all the assets was in the nation's name, not his. When he left, it was all in the nation's name. But everything now is in Farrakhan's name. The nation has zero assets. All it's in Farrakhan's name. Why is that? So something happening, what happens? So I'm going to give you the basic things here, brothers and sisters. So they push you into a smaller space. There's two aspects of this. Push you a smaller space, which is going to cause, like you put a lot of people in an elevator, and why they get to pushing each other. They want more room. That's violence. And the other thing is like quality violence. Like I said, it's not enough food or whatever. I mean, I'm not talking about the electrical side of it. That's criminalization. I'm talking about, right, I'm saying, like deficiencies and things like that. You see? But you have a threshold also, because even with the electrical thing, if it's enough, if you take all electrons away,
the whole system, the structure breaks down, then it get violent. So it's on a certain level, then you have a certain level of violence in the electrical aspect of it. But in this type of way, I'm showing here, by forcing you in smaller space and things like that, and the qualitative deficiencies, qualitative, not the quantitative, qualitative deficiencies will cause violence. And they can control the level of violence. They get more and more violent. They be violent against each other, not outside. And they make sure the police make sure that violence stays contained in your neighborhood. That's what the police are for, to make sure that violence stays contained in your neighborhood. See? So you packed in like sardines, and they out there in the suburbs, and they got 2 acres or whatever around them. They got some space, some more space than others. But you pack like sardines. And then they put in those projects that you literally on top of each other. And they wonder, why is so much violence up in there? They knew exactly, because they already done the studies. You can go Google, they done the studies. And they tell you exactly what happened. They used the rats as an experiment. But they knew exactly. They said the humans would act pretty much the same way. They know. They do it purposely. They get you to destroy each other. They say, see how violent they are? They make sure you stay violent. If they didn't, they would have sent your jobs overseas, and Detroit would still be a mecca for black economics, and they'd be buy houses, have bigger property, and have peace. But instead, you got conflict in all the cities, and crime is getting worse and worse and worse. And they're building more and more prisons. All the time say, we love you. That's a them Democrats. Republicans are just as bad, this kind of different approach. See? The Republican approach is more electrical way. See? The Democratic approach is more the pressure way. They both have the same approach. See, the electrical way, that's like more benevolent, like they stand back and it's hard to notice that one. See? So then you put your ass in jail, prison, criminalize you. But the Democratic way is more violence. See? And then they were blaming on the Republicans. They blame the problem on the violence on the Republicans, and Republicans blame the criminality on the Democrats. But both of them doing the same damn thing, just do different methods. And then they blame their method on the other one. And then you right in the middle, oh man, I'm a vote Democrat, I'm a vote Republican. And both of them against you. But it's two different specific methods. See? Says, let's deal shrewdly with them in other ways they wouldn't see it coming. Said, what comes a snare. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. I get you understand that qualitative. They can't control how much energy you have. They control the quality of it. They keep your energy in the power. See? So we're going to see that in the next. Then we're going to close out, brothers and sisters. I wasn't going to take long with this. I really need to take the time to really go into a lot of detail. Brothers and sisters. I'll use my voice here. And this is an example of quality, and I talked about this before. You see those Negro butts? They happy, they jumping, they laughing, because we got $1 million, man. Say, boys, me shit for them. We got $1 million shit for them. That's the only thing they was allowed to have. So they bought $1 million, say, shit for them. They laugh and happy. Now on the right, there's the devil there. He's got $1 million worth of gold. Because he's allowed to buy the gold. And that's what recycling is all about. Because in the very simplest way of looking at it is right, simplistic way is you take food, that's the gold, and you eat it. You turn it into shit. They take the shit, they put it in the ground, use it as fertilizer, because that's what they take. Fertilize the ground and put seeds in there, and the seed turns that into more food again, which you eat, and your cycle continues. That's the way nature works, recycling. The water you drink at one time was piss. The sun cleaned up is recycled. You don't like that? Move to another universe where they got some other kind of way of doing things. I guarantee you, if there's such a place, they'll be doing things the same way, recycling. So in every society, right, you have the shit producers and you got the gold makers. Keep that cycle going. See? So you need both. See, that's what happened when we was in so-called slavery and Holocaust. Was what happened. They took and they gave us the shit. Shitless, it actually literally shitless eat, shit to eat. We lived a shit life. If you want to call it life at all. Making gold for them. Mansions, nice lawns, nice food that we wouldn't allow to eat. You know what I'm saying? That cycle. And they would turn into shit. And they give us the shit. And that's the cycle it went through. And we're still going through now. And they want to keep that going. Because they're on the gold end of it, we're on the shit end of it. That's why they don't want to let you go. That's what. So you don't even understand that process. That's basic, what they call it, civics. That's basic civics. But you don't understand that because your head's up in the NFL, the NBA, that you don't understand how that works. That's basic civics. So they took and they got their boys over here because they didn't want to handle their own shit. So now they got it made because they can do it. Because on society by itself, they have people that handle the shit, people handle the gold, right? See? Because we got the same thing, right? See? But we don't do it that way. We don't impress anybody because we don't do it around people like that, right? But every society has somebody, right, that's going to take the waste and turn it into negative waste, turn into something positive. And we take positive stuff in, right, and we turn it back into waste. Like you take the food in, where did food come from? And then we turn it back into waste, corruption. See, that's the way the universe works. See? You turn something into corruption, then the process turns the corruption back into positive, and then you turn the positive back to negative. So that's a cycle. See? But now if you could bring another people in and just handle your corruption, then you elevate the whole young people to just the gold status. Because now before, some people have to handle the shit, people handle gold, but now you have people that just handle the shit. So now your people can handle the gold. That's exactly our place here in America. It's going to always be a place in America as long as you're here. Because they create a control. Remember, you have energy, but they control the nature of it, the quality of it. So you have $1 million, so to speak, but you can only buy shit farm. Hope you understand it. As long as you stay, that's where it's going to always be. As long as you stay here, that's where they want it. And that's why they don't want to let you go. Pharaoh knew that. That's one of the reasons, not just your creativity. Because they never had, making out of Europe, they turned gold into shit. They turned Europe into a total shit farm. It was a shithole they were trying to escape from. They went all over the world looking for gold because they had none. And Africa was full of gold because we turned shit into gold. Africa was the richest continent on the planet because we turned shit into gold. And they turned gold into shit. They said, hey, we can do this. We have a symbiotic relationship here. We bring them over and they'll turn our shit into gold and we'll turn their gold into shit. So we'll get the gold and they'll get the shit. As long as you stay, that's the way it's going to be. Because it tells you we're wealthy. So, we're wealthy. So you don't even recognize your wealth. And you read the Abrahamic covenant, it says, when they go out, 40 years in land that's not ours, because land belongs to us. Master Muhammad said, this is the worst part of planet Earth. Then we're going back to the best part. The Abrahamic covenant says, we're going heard the best part. But he's just lying to you because he's one of them. He's a devil. He's a black-faced devil. So it says when they leave out after 40 years, that means we get ready to go home to Arabia. It says the land between the river Nile and the Euphrates River, which is Arabia, not little Palestine, because they fake, they're not the truth. It says we go out. It said we wasn't going to great wealth, we went out with great wealth. And we're giving wealth. So it means we're wealthy now, but we don't see it because they control this quality of our wealth by giving us $1 billion shit farm. You understand the mathematics of it? If you live in a big old high-rise building, right? As far as mathematics are, you live in a big high-rise, it don't matter if you got 1,000 other people living there with you. You live in a big mansion with all those rooms. You don't get it? You live in a projects. It's got 1,000 apartments in it. You live in there. As far as mathematics are concerned, you live in a mansion with 1,000 apartments, and you got a lot of friends living there with you. So you wealthy. But it's shit. It's a shit farm. They play games with you, bro. Instead of you go out with great wealth. That means you're wealthy now. You just don't understand it because the way they play games with you, because your ass so much is the NFL, NBA, and Kobe and all these people, right? And you follow all these demons. That's who they are. Demons in mass house where they wouldn't be there. And so you don't see what they're doing to you, right? And you always think you're free. You got something, you got nothing. But you're wealthy and don't even know it. Because you got the shit farm. See how happy they are? They dancing around the shit farm. You know, it's a shit farm. It stinks. It's filthy. That's the only thing about it. All they think about, I got $1 million. It's worth $1 million. They can't buy gold with it. Okay, understand, brothers and sisters? Let me show you this, and then we're going to move on. Here's the cycle. Here's the cycle. It says we leave out with great wealth. That means you have great wealth now. You have great, your son, they control the quality of it. See? America is supposed to be the richest country on the planet, right? See? So you live in the richest planet, that means part of the wealth, put it like this here. If America's worth $1 trillion, right? And there's only 10 people here, right? That means each person is worth $100 billion. You get it? See, because since you're here, then you divide how many people here by how much wealth is America is, that's how much wealth you have. But the money tricks you to think that no, that's an illusion. Because that's how much you have, just as much as everybody else have. Money's an illusion. So that means you wealthy, because America's a wealthy, but you don't realize the wealth. Because the way they playing games, because you got the shit. See? And they got the gold. So long as you stay here, they're gonna control the quality of your wealth. Until you get home, then you control the quality of, because in my father's house, there are many mansions. Elijah Muhammad said that the lowest one of us would have a grandeur mansion. And each one of these have at least a 1 mile square space between us and anybody else. See, you have the wealth for that right now, but you are going to have it here because they control the quality of your wealth. I don't know if I want to get this money thing, but I really need to take a whole presentation for that. See, that's an illusion. Maybe I say something on that. We all get the same amount of energy. Okay. So if you didn't have money, it would be hard for you to control the nature of the quality of your energy. By money, they can say, okay, you have to have money to buy this. You have to have their money they control to buy this. You have to have their money to control to buy that. That's why they don't do bartering and stuff anymore. So therefore they can say, don't sell this gold to them. Only sell them shit farms. Because you have to have money to purchase it. And so they control how much money you have. They can't control my energy you have. They control how much money you have by spending so much money. Right, like now, the inflation, everything costs so much more. or at least have only so much money and allow so much money in the neighborhood, right? So you don't have them like you have access to money. What's your access to money? Get a job. It's in a job overseas, so you have no access to money. You're still getting the energy amount, but it's not taking the form you want. It's taking the form they want it to be. Like I said, they could take and say, what they paid you $1,000 a day in the hood, and usually $1,000 a day, $10,000 a day, but they allow no food to come in. So you got all this money, but you ain't got no food. How is that going to work? See how they control it? And that's what they're doing. I said, they do it incandescently, right? Because, like I said, they can take it, affect the nature of the food that you're getting. They tell you they process with all kinds, with this MBOs, like what are they doing? Money's an illusion. They use control in the society, control the nature of the quality of your energy. We won't have money when we go back home. It's an illusion. It's a control mechanism. See? Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. I think we're going to leave it there. I talked about quite a few things. Some of the things I want to have a whole presentation on it. Specifically, I just want to get you somewhat familiar with what's going on. I said pressure wisdom. See? And they use the same thing in war. That's why I was telling you, they would not teach you the science of war. But this is science of war. How did they get Japan into war in World War II? Japan is an island nation. See, Japan, those people was wise. They didn't want to have anything but money, have anything with doing anything with the Western world. It was, I forgot what they called people, xenophobes, I think they called them. They didn't want anything to do with the outside world. They had their little kingdom, and they was doing fine. But Admiral Perry went over there and said, you better open up your society or we're going to blow you away. He had all his Admiral Perry, he had all his ships and big cannons and stuff. Because they wanted to control that society. So they wanted them to modernize so they can get in there with money and start control. Because that's how you could, because otherwise they couldn't control them. So once they got in there, they start or industrialize everything. So then remember, there's an island country, same like Britain. And Britain did the same thing Britain did, because Britain, when they industrialized, they had to go, they didn't have no resource in the island, they didn't take from everybody else. That's why it became a world empire. They was taking from everybody else, they had nothing themselves. And the same thing, once they industrialized Japan, they had to go out and take from other people to feed those machines and to feed that industry. Right? So they started doing the same thing Britain. They started attacking China, Philippines, all that kind of stuff to get the feed that America forced on them. They forced them to do that. You saw that movie Samurai with what's the name, Cruz. There's some truth in that, but that was the idea. They was resisting industrialization. So it's forcing them. So now they industrialize, they build a industrial society, that money, all this stuff now, remember? And then what happened? America wanted to get in war with Germany, because America didn't want to do it, but Japan was allied with Germany, so they knew if they couldn't get in war with Germany because it was politically, Roosevelt knew it was political suicide. So he said, well, if I bring Japan into this war, then I be at war with Germany because Japan's allied with Germany. So what they did was they put an embargo. See, that's what sanctions are all about. The same thing. That's those are called they know what they are. The acts of war. When they put sanctions, that's an act of, because they put sanctions on America and America go to war. It's an act of war. So what they did, they put an embargo around Japan, meaning that Japan could not bring any quality pressure. So they would still get their energy, but they couldn't get in terms of food and stuff, because they needed to get that from other people to fuel their economy, because now they were industrialized and they didn't have no resources of their own. See, that's what they did. They knew only way Japan could react, they had to fight. They knew what was coming. That's why when they finally hit Japan, when Japan hit Hawaii, all their major carriers and stuff was gone. They would somehow they would just have moved away. My brother and sister, they just They must have had a vision. They happened to not be there that day. See? So when they attacked, all their major carriers and stuff, battleship stuff, had moved away because that's the major port for that stuff, right? And they're always there, but they wasn't there that day. See? So they used qualitative pressure to get there, and you got the war. Qualitative pressure, because we still get the energy, but they wouldn't get in terms of food, and you have to have food to live. It's qualitative pressure. See? So you might get energy in other forms, right? But we need food. So somebody mail you a check, hey, here's $1 billion check, whatever. Yeah, but I can't eat it. You understand, brothers and sisters? Quality. One thing that change that you quantitatively lack is your power, because you get the same amount of energy, but you need to convert to get power. You have to convert energy into power, and that needs discipline with the Bible calls righteousness. See, and so if they can keep you from disciplining yourself out there fornicating, fornicating, watching NFL, going to see concerts, all this kind of BS, smoking, drinking, whatever, then you never attain power. So they control the quantity of power by, of course, you destroy your discipline, your righteousness. And you're righteous people by nature. But they got the demons, that's their purpose, is to deceive you and say, hey man, what you doing that for, man? Let's party. Let's get high. Let's go hit on some ladies. See? That's their whole job to do that. We're going to stand on this. We're going to leave it there. Okay? I plan, right, I've done something else today. I got quite things to do. I plan on going into a lot more detail. I think I said enough. For those of you that's thinking, this should be enough. Right? But I got a lot of things I need to tell you, and this war is at the doorstep. The war's on the horizon. See? The war's on the horizon. And I already said, my calculation based on injury, we're talking about within the next 2 months, sooner than later, between June and July. I've been saying all year. Between June and July, I said 6 months in, expect the war. We're 6 months in. Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Let me close out with my audio audience. Okay, audience, thanks for listening. This is the Black Alert segment of the Fire Zone. Black Alert out. And for my video audience here, thank you for listening. Hope you understand. Remember the Holocaust? Don't let them talk. Don't let them keep pushing this slavery stuff on you. Remember the Holocaust, brothers and sisters, because I'm not going to forget. Don't forget your ancestors. They suffered unimaginably so you can be here. Assalamu alaikum. Oh.